Good afternoon and welcome to today's edition of the Afternoon Edition. My name is Isa Nu. Today we shall be focusing on issues that has to do with civil society, and for some time now, so many Nigerians have been asking, what is the major role of the civil society organization in Nigeria, and how can they impress the Nigerians that are imposed with the thought of how to make the country better? Civil society organizations as parapolitical organizations help to make certain demands and give support under modern states practicing democracy. There are checks against the excesses of the government, human rights violations, abuse of the rule of law, monitoring of the application of the Constitution, facilitators of participation and skills of all segments of the society, instillers of sense of tolerance, trust and hard work, moderation and compromise. Among the various parties in the society, alternatives to political parties, mitigating instruments against the excesses of fundamentalists, extremists and maximalists would tend to have a very narrow view of life, and recruiting ground for and training of prospective members of the political class for the enhancement of quality participation in government. Globally, civil society organizations are recognized as important non-state agents of development. They are saddled with the multifaceted responsibilities of providing social welfare, economic empowerment, humanitarian services, political participation, enabling effective democratic governance and the rule of law. In Nigeria, civil society organizations operate under weak and complex regulations, and this has hindered their effectiveness and limited their potential. To increase the understanding of the context in which civil society organizations operate and to better understanding the challenges, I'll be discussing with the recently appointed Director General of the Civil Society Organization in person of Mr. Kunle Yusuf. He will also be joined by his colleague, whose name is Ojugo Onyeluka, Director of Communication and Engagement. So we take a very short break, and when we return, we start the conversation on the major role the civil society is playing in our society, and also who are the ones supervising the activities of the civil society. Let's go on this short break, and when we return, we start off with the conversation.
Mr. President, last Saturday, the country which I have the honor to represent, the Federation of Nigeria, became independent and assumed the rights and every African territory, big or small, as our equal, because we honestly feel that it is only on that basis of equality that peace can be maintained in our continent. We in Nigeria are a populous country. There are about 40 million of us, and our territory is relatively large. We are willing to learn before we rush into the field of international politics. But we are totally unwilling to be diverted from the ideals which we think true. That is the reason, Mr. President, why we in Nigeria shall not be found to align ourselves as a matter of routine with any particular bloc. Indeed, I hate the very idea of blocs existing at all in the United Nations. It seems to me to be a contradiction in terms. When we hear the world crying out for peace, we may receive the inspiration to deal with these intractable problems and be able really to devote all our resources to the advancement of mankind by applying those eternal truths which will inevitably persist long after we ourselves are utterly forgotten. Thank you, Mr. President.
Welcome back from that break. And if you remember, for many Nigerians, the issue of the role of NGOs in our society is something that is very, very critical. And if you remember, just early 2000, within 2010, 11, 12, when the issue of Boko Haram started, so many apprehension on the roles of some of these organizations. And today we have the Director General of the Civil Society Organization on Community Advancement and Humanitarian Empowerment Initiative, CSCHEI, in Nigeria. That's Mr. Kunle Yusuf. Good afternoon and welcome to the program.
Good afternoon and thank you.
Congratulations. I can see that an MON was attached to your name. Sorry for not mentioning that. Member of the Order of Niger.
Thank you.
Okay, and also is Mr. Ojugo Onyeluka, if I get that right. Sorry for taking time to pronounce that name. And it's nice having both of you on the program this afternoon. And moving forward now, you had the recently appointed Director General of the Civil Society Organization on Community Advancement and Humanitarian Empowerment. What major role are you going to be playing, and what are your plans for the future?
Well, thank you so much for inviting us for the program.
Yeah.
And of course, permit me to use this opportunity to also appreciate all Nigerians who has been contributing positively to national development. Like you have mentioned earlier, civil society organization is basically a link between the masses and the government.
Okay.
They are the voice of the masses. And of course, it may surprise you to know that in Nigeria today we have over 45,000 registered various CBOs, CSO, FBOs, and professional body in Nigeria. Recently, when the CSEC is Civil Society Organization on Community Enhancement and Humanitarian Empowerment Initiative in Nigeria, when the management was inaugurated, the mandate given was to coordinate, supervise, and promote every registered, certified NGO, CBO, FBO, and CSO in Nigeria as far as the community, social, humanity value is concerned. Now, the basic role of civil society in Nigeria, as designed, structured by the government, basically by Corporate Affairs, CAC Commission, is to provide an enabling environment, a link between the masses and the federal government, the state government and the government. Most of the time, to also play an administrative role between donor development partners, development agents, humanitarian, and philanthropists in Nigeria. So as of today, there is no council or commission of civil society in Nigeria, but right now we have a platform, a structure for civil society on social, community advancement and humanitarian empowerment for regulation, promotion, coordination, and supervision.
Wow.
Guided by the Constitution of Nigeria, overseen by the Act of Corporate Affairs Commission.
Well, that's very good. And you have about 45,000 CSOs or FBOs, NGOs, and whatsoever you call them, all registered with the Corporate Affairs Commission?
Yes. Yes, all registered with the Corporate Affairs Commission. But in recent time, this year, the Corporate Affairs Commission pronounced publicly that if you are a civil society organization, you are registered with them, and you have not been filing your documentation, a lot will be deleted. So, and we've used the platform on different fora to announce to so many of our members, institutional members, to please go and do the right, go and do the needful, go and certify your document so your name will still be active with the CAC.
Okay. Let me quickly ask Mr. Ojugo. Mr. Ojugo, you are the Director of Communication and Engagement, and definitely the team cannot work without you, because you have that direct link of communicating the goals, the mission of this particular organization. And you know the role civil society organization play in the country. When it comes to the issue of communication, what major aspect of it do you deal with them?
First of all, thank you for having us here and inviting us to the program. Just like my DG mentioned, dissemination of information is key. And one of the things he said was that in recent times, CAC has pronounced that those that have not filed their papers will be deregistered or deleted. This is actually one of the things that we will do. And that's what we have been doing already. We're passing the information to everybody. If you call yourself CSO, CBO, NG, go and file your papers, do the needful, otherwise you'll be deregistered. So that's just one of the things. There are so many other aspects. Those working in humanitarian services, those working, depending on the region they are working in, if there are information we have to pass, if there are things they are doing that they also want people to know, this is an avenue for that to happen.
Okay, moving forward, the issue of communication is central, because when you don't communicate, definitely there will be information will not be getting to the right set of people. And I remember, as at the time when we were having serious issues of insecurity, some of the CSOs were affected as at then. How do you get this information? How do you provide the necessary support for them?
So CCI is already building a structure that would support what you just said. There are so many times when things will happen here and then we need it to go out and it's not going out effectively. There are so many times that you have information that you want to pass to the people so that they'll be able to react and restructure themselves, but information is not being passed. This is a bridge CCI is working on. Okay. There's a bridge, there's a gap that CCI is filling. That's why I said to you that we are the bridge between the government and the people. This is one of the areas we're actually filling. Okay,
let me quickly ask the DG now. The role of civil society, just like you've rightly stated, is very paramount in the society. Absolutely. But one major issue that has always been on ground is the issue of human rights, most especially here in Nigeria. So how do you engage other civil society in order for them to have a better way of managing the issue of human rights? Because at some point you discover that the government seems to be one side, the CSOs are one side, what they are reporting is countering what the government is saying. So how do you get them on board so that we can all move together?
Okay, thank you so much for this logical question. Human rights is just one of the sectors of various registered civil society organizations in Nigeria. And as far as the human rights is concerned, you see, like I said earlier, civil society is all about development. Yeah. It may be technical, but the component of development, there's not how you can talk about development, you won't be able to talk about human rights. Now, this human right is so important as a component of development on civil society because it has a lot of things to do with human dignity and social value. What we have done as of today, we have a structure, a platform that coordinates all the CBOs in various areas. That has something to do with social and community development. Now, we are in the process of identifying how many number of CSO CBOs on human rights sector. It is when you have a data that you'll be able to map out a development. And anything you are doing that is outside the component of logic, science, and data, you won't be able to have serious or deep implementation. As of today, we have a structure in place that is outlining various sectors of different platforms of civil society organizations in Nigeria. And one of it is what we have just mentioned on the area of human rights. The human right is about how best to live in the society, how you're right. You should be able to have a structure that will give you a proper coordination on the right of a citizenry. And of course, we have National Human Rights Commission in Nigeria. That is the structure the government has put in places. Right now, once we finish all the data analysis and we're in the process of implementation, definitely a committee will be looking into that. They'll be working with National Human Rights Commission. As of yesterday, we've sent a letter to House of Rep Committee and Senate Committee on Human Rights Commission, and we have extended a partnership with them. We want to work together. We want to look at the acts. How will we be able to contribute more into it that will reflect into development of citizenry of Nigeria as far as the human right and the right of the constitution is concerned. In the previous years, we don't have such a platform where there will be a kind of administrative collaborative between the National Assembly, the civil society, and also the National Human Rights Commission. So, yes, there are laws. The implementation of the law, as far as the civil society is concerned, there is this kind of administrative lacuna, and this is where the CSEC is standing right now to fill in the gap in order to have political administrative relationship with both the National Assembly, Human Rights Commission, and the so-called body of civil society platform.
Okay, how long has this body been? How long has it, when did you start, and how long have you been able to carry out most of your activities?
It's barely a month and a half that, the process and procedure must be certified.
Yeah.
If you are not certified, you can have an administrative structure to perform your responsibility. The structure of CSEC is less than 2 months, approved and certified by the CAC. And the reason why we had the challenges is because most of the development partners in Nigeria, if there is no structure, a platform to work, they won't be able to offer you both the technical support and financial support. And that's why you see so many CBOs, CSOs who has been working, has been one of, part of, kind of personal contribution. But this time around, now we have a platform that will look into what you are doing, profile you, advise you, supervise you, probably submit your proposal in terms of program and budgeting, and see how we can link them into various development partners that can look into their budgetary provision to see how they can support various civil society organizations in Nigeria. As of today, we have almost 24 various United Nations development partners and donor agencies in Nigeria working on sustainable development goal. Sustainable development goal is all about living a life where everybody should be carried along as far as development is concerned. And there's not how you talk about sustainable development goal. No. You won't talk about civil society. There's not how you talk about civil society. You won't talk about development goal. And there are difference between development and sustainable development goal. Once it's about sustainable development goal, you need civil society to be part of the implementation of the project and the program for sustainability and structure. And at the same time, we were at United Nations to attend sustainable action, climate action platform. And you will see what the Secretary General of United Nations just said. It's just too captured. The conclusion of UNGA this year was just about who captured. It's about rebuilding of trust and rekindling of global sustainability and solidarity. Okay. To accelerate the Addis Ababa implementation of SDG, and also to provide a global solidarity platform to prevent epidemic after COVID-19. Okay. Basically, those are the two conclusions that the UNGA this year. And there's no how you want to be discussing about sustainable development goal, government implementation of project and program. You won't be able to talk about civil society.
Okay. Let me quickly go back to the Director of Communication. You are the Director of Communication, and having this been put together, so invariably you stand as, let me say, the umbrella of all civil society organizations. Yes. And at that point, when you saw the need for you to have an umbrella, but definitely you must have your master plan on how you are going to execute most of the project and programs of this particular body. So now, moving forward now, what are the immediate recommendations you think you need to put out for the civil society organization, for the government, in order for people to work together and see that, yes, most of the issues you'll be tackling in the future, you'll be able to address them easily?
The first thing is transparency. Yeah. And one of the projects we're talking about is this palliative issue. It's one of the things we're going to discuss with government to say, all these things you're doing, can we be a bit more transparent? Yeah. Because it is transparency that builds the trust that the UN SecGen talked about at the end of the UNGA this year. So if we talk about transparency and government agrees to transparency, I think that would go a long way in bridging the gap between the government and the people, building trust, and rekindling the, I don't want to say the spirit of development in the people, to say, okay, the government actually cares, let us work with the government. So that's the very first aspect, transparency. The second one is communication, and that's where I come in. Government is doing a lot, but the people do not know. The people individually and CSOs are doing a lot, but the government, they do not know. How do we bridge this gap? That's where CSEC comes in again, to say, okay, government, we are still the bridge between the people and government. How do we merge? How do we create synergy? So you see, synergy and transparency alone, if we do those two, I believe strongly that we would have developed a good relationship between government and CSOs, and then development will be put on the table for everybody to see.
But there's also this belief that sometimes the non-governmental organization or the civil society organization are also being sponsored by government, and you end up not getting the best of information from them, or probably data. And then there are situations where we also have non-governmental organizations trying to serve the interests of people outside the country who are not in support of the ideology of being in Nigeria or being one Nigeria. So how do you get to address this, and how can you also identify in your system issues like this and easily tackle it for the betterment of the country?
Again, it goes back to the first thing I talked about. Trust. Transparency.
Transparency, okay.
It is through transparency you will know those that are working for the country or those that are working against the country. But if we do not take the principle of transparency seriously, we won't be able to determine that. Like, you have this project, you're working on this already. Okay, where exactly are you? How did you get your funding? If you have a project or you have a proposal and you bring it to us and you need funding, we'll look at it. You're very transparent. And if we're going to get you the funding, we'll go to the development partner or go to government to say, there's a gap here, we need you to fill it. If it's government that is bringing the money, everybody is there for everybody to see. Let me give you an example. There are some development partners and agencies that source for funds for particular projects. At the end of the day, they publish their report and put it on the net for you to see. So if we develop that kind of mechanism, it will be easier to pick out those who are working in the interest of Nigeria and those who are not working in the interest of the country.
Okay.
DG, what does this say?
Yeah, I think
yes, just to be on the same fence with you. You see, if we look into vision, objective, and the strategy we want to adopt in CSEC, it's about three triangles. I made mention earlier: logic, science, and
data.
Yes, sir.
All right. The first thing is to get data and statistics correctly. Right. The second one is the logical part of it, and the other one is scientific means of method we want to use to get things done amicably. But you see, there is something missing here. Fundamentally, the concept we are trying to use now that we have adopted is MPH.
Okay.
All right. That is the area is trying to talk about. MPH. The first one is about the honesty.
Okay.
All right. Anything you are doing that the trust is not there, you don't have there's no baseline for it. The second one is pragmatism. Okay. And the third one is about meritocracy. So what we're trying to say is, we have a concept of logic, science, and data that is cycling with the principle of MPH: honesty, meritocracy, and pragmatism. So when we now put this holistic theory together, then we'll be able to advise the government on the policy program that has to do with national development, on how to implement with the structure. And the structure, we have, there are so many ministries that are doing various things as far as the government is concerned, on our own as a platform of civil society, to ensure that enough of wasting taxpayers' money, enough of sabotage. And that was the reason why I mentioned about palliative. Okay, the moment the federal government announced the issue of palliative, we've issued a statement and a press release that this time around, civil society across the board will be partnering with federal government, state government, and local government to supervise how the distribution of those palliative are, especially to monitor. So it won't be as if one part of the local government, one community is not carried along appropriately. So it's all about experiences.
Okay.
It's all about social development, community development, and neighborhood connectivity.
Okay, let me quickly ask you this, because I want to understand the logic. How do you get in touch with other civil society organizations? Because you are the umbrella body now, and definitely you must have to identify with them, or they must have to identify with you. So at what point do you get to the round table and then sort out issues amongst yourself?
Thank you so much. That's the question I'm actually expecting from you. Like I said, in Nigeria today we have over 45,000 registered various NGO in Nigeria, and CSEC is just a platform to coordinate all the civil society on community enhancement and humanitarian empowerment. So what we're trying to do, the process I've started, we're identifying the serious one that has a connection with CAC. If you are not certified and you are not registered, you can't be on our platform.
Okay.
And right now, on a daily basis, people are registering with us. And the first quarter, there's going to be a report.
Okay.
All right. Like I said, our concept is about logic, science, and data. So we are working assiduously to get all the data correctly. And once in the first quarter of the year of the establishment of CSEC, we're going to publicize what we have done, how many members on environment, how many members we have on education, how many civil society we have on this, how many NGO we have on that, across the board. So every day, we have people are working, dealing with multinationals on corporate social responsibility, dealing with development partners, dealing with donor agencies, working with other registered and non-civil society organizations on community development, social development, climate change, environment, and a lot of stuff of that. But because it's a new establishment, we are basically on the process right now. And by the first quarter of the establishment of the organization, we're going to have a program that will now enlist all the numbers of various organizations that is under our establishment. And permit me to use this platform again to inform every civil society sector personality to please work with us to enhance development. Collaborate with us. Let us see whom you are. Get in touch with us. Let's see your program. Let's see the area of your challenges and see how best to assist your platform.
I think your body have a very important role to play in Nigeria, and I'm now seeing the bigger picture of it, because it's a situation where people are not monitored. So many things happen, like even as at when the issue of Boko Haram was at the climax, where people were suspicious about the role of civil society, the continuous stay in the northeast and the rest. At this particular point, so people even the government will definitely would like to partner more with you guys, because you are like the umbrella body now of the CSO. So we'll be taking a very short break, and we are still here discussing the issue of civil society organization in Nigeria and the major role they play. But then at this particular point in time, we are having an umbrella body whose responsibility is to supervise, monitor, and also protect the interest of not just the CSOs but also Nigeria. And the DJ is here in the studio, Mr. Kunle Yusuf. So we'll go for this break, and when we return, we continue with the conversation.
We are a nation blessed with people of diverse cultures.
Owners and operators of ASO Radio 93.5 FM Abuja, ASO Television DSTV Channel 392, Star Times Terrestrial Channel 127, Free TV Channel 507, People's TV Channel 285, and UHF Channel 38.
Welcome back from that short break, and still with us in the studio is Mr. Kunle Yusuf M.O.N., that's member of the Niger, and also the Director of Communication, Ojugo Onyeluka. And Mr. Kunle Yusuf is the Director General of the civil society organization on community advancement and humanitarian empowerment initiative. But let me quickly ask Mr. Ojugo on this. The issue of you being an umbrella body is very, very important because you serve now as a medium between the CSOs and then the government. But at this particular point in time, how then do you generate monies to sustain the activities you carried out?
Did you want to take this?
Okay. You want me to?
You see, civil society organizations in Nigeria have been funded from various angles.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, you get your funding from development partners, donors agencies, philanthropists, and of course, in collaboration with government, can also support in various assignments. Now, what we're trying to do is that in Nigeria as of today, we have various civil society organizations that are doing very well. Okay? And we also have a lot of Nigerians, successful Nigerians, who are actually interested in supporting any program, any project that has to do with development. They are willing and ready to do that. And if you look at, if you go on our website, we just inform some of the Ministry of Federal Government on about the program we have to take, and we are launching it by middle of December. The first one, this will give you the background of how we source the funding. The first one is we're going to inaugurate the SDG Secondary School Club in Nigeria. This SDG Secondary School Club in Nigeria is a way of catching the brain younger. It's a way of catching them younger. It's a way of identifying the talents in our secondary school. It's a way of rebranding and giving them a new orientation about what development is all about. And again, there's another program again called No Teacher, No Development. We discovered that a lot of science teachers are retired, but they're not tired. We're trying to identify them across the country and train them. Partner with Nigerian Institute of Teachers to train the retired teacher on science subject. It's a way of preparing a platform to build more science students, because in future needs a lot of scientists. And the third program is, of course, you agree with me, the recent time, last year, Nigeria is rated #1 in the world open defecation. So we're trying to organize funding and technical support to build 10,000 toilets across the country. And the last one we're trying to do is a youth empowerment initiative on financial services management, where 36,000, including FCT, 37,000 Nigerians will be empowered on financial services management through the transaction, training on how to use the POS stuff. We empower them with little money. We empower them with the ability to technical know-how to operate the machine, and give them an enabling environment to operate. These are the programs we have in place, and a lot of CBOs and NGOs key into it, use their platform to also do the same thing. And you agree with me, I don't know how long you have reached your own primary and secondary school teacher. I do that often, and a lot of teacher impact knowledge into us, but when we grow up, most of them we forget about them. Teacher. So we are coming up with an initiative that if you know your teacher has contributed much into your life, and this is the time for you to also give back to society by identifying with your teacher and contribute to national development. So we have a lot of Nigerians who are successful, ready to contribute to any program, any project that has to do with the interests of national development. And of course, that is one area of generating fund. Of course, there is a development partner and donor agencies. The UNGA we attended just about a month ago, that is United Nations General Assembly, has opened us, has given us
vista of opportunities,
various opportunities to work with international organizations as far as the civil society is concerned. Women has never been in that area before. Now it's open to us. We identify various NGOs, MBOs look into your proposals. We have a channel out to reach them. But this ABCD is being certified by the Nigerian and is working according to the Nigerian Constitution and is under our umbrella. We can now push those things, and they will look at it, check the data analysis, and see how best they can help, and they will consult with us, and the approval will come, because it's now a different ball game. You won't get any support financially from development partner if you are not in their professional budget of the year. So this hunger we just attended has opened us a channel of collaboration with international civil society organization who actually has so much to support Africa, especially in Nigeria, in the area of climate change action, in the area of environment, in the area of erosion, in the area of security, on basic education, and of course, most importantly, on youth empowerment program.
I want to also have just a clue on this issue of youth, because you know, we have government comes, government go. Despite the fact that you've mentioned one key aspect that I so much love, reaching back to your primary school and the secondary. That's a very good program. But now, with the population explosion of youth that we have in Nigeria, do you have any major plans for them beyond the issue of having them to do the normal POS? Because some researchers have also stated that the increment in terms of doing one particular business also affects the business.
You see, fundamentally, if you carry research on development,
yes,
the elementary part of it is the mentorship. All right, on our platform we have mentorship academy, right? A structure, a platform to build a career for you, to support you in building your whole career, you know, logically. And how do we do this? All right, we have universal basic education in Nigeria, which has the mandate, you know, to manage the primary school education and GS1 to GS3. I was privileged to be a governing board member of Universal Basic Education between 2013 to 2016. And I know the role this JUBEC is playing. If you are able to pilot the mindset of Nigeria from their basic learning education to secondary school, right? And you are able to narrow it down on development. It's easier for you to manage the youth as a baseline. You can't build nothing on something. Once you don't have the basic education right, the tertiary education is almost nothing. So what we're trying to do now, apart from the program on self-employment initiative we are trying to adopt very soon, we are also partnering. We've started, we've written a memo to Universal Basic Education Commission and yesterday for partnership. We want to go into the real basic education learning in Nigeria. How will you be able to pilot the mind of the younger generation towards development? And that is what the SDG, the Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the President of Sustainable Development, did something about 2 years ago. The 17 goal of SDG, 196 indicators and 232 targets were able to elementary it for basic understanding. We now want to see how this kind of program is being sustained. Okay. So by the time from the primary school you understand what development is all about, your brain is working about, is talking to you on what development is all about and how best to implement any program and project on development.
Let me buttress.
You just buttress within 30 seconds so that I can ask you a question before we call it a day. Okay,
very good. So it's not just about the financial things. We identify as the days goes on, and then as realities unfold. Another aspect is that when we're talking about just when we're coming, we're talking about moving away from conventional form of education into some other parts, and it's also part of the things we are thinking about. Yes, now we are piloting the financial phase. There are also some other aspects of unconventional education that will contribute to development that we are looking at as well.
Okay, let me ask you this as the last question for you. And one major issue with these programs and policies that you guys are designing, and how do people now get to know about these so that they can follow you up on some of this program and be beneficiaries of this?
I mean, this is one of the platforms that you have provided
Beyond
for us. Yes. but nowadays, you agree with me that TV, a lot of people do not have the time for TV as much as they used to in the past. So new media is the way to go. Social media, get a lot of platforms. Those are the things we want to use to actually push out a lot of all these messages. And one of the messages I want to use this your platform to push out is that if you are in the NGO CBO space and you have not registered, you've not filed your papers with CAC, please go and do that. Thank you for providing.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ojugu. And let me allow the Director General to have his last say and his words to the CBOs and NGOs.
I thank you so much. You make mention about communication and engagement strategy. And we are able to identify this as a critical stakeholders. And by December, we've decided to inaugurate PTO, Principal Technical Officer, in each local government. So it means that 774 personnel working with us on NGO will be inaugurated, and we'll be working with our syllabus in partnering with the local government and community traditional rulers. So we can't do anything without people. So, and this time around, we're going to, once they are inaugurated, they'll be working based on our syllabus to partner with the local government authority, civil society organization, and traditional rulers in their various councils.
Thank you so much, DG of the Civil Society Organization on Community Advancement and Humanitarian Empowerment Initiative in Nigeria, Mr. Kunle Yusuf, MON. It's nice having you today. And Mr. Ojugu Inyeluka, it's nice having you. And
thank
also,
you very much.
A former, let me say, a Miadite. So this is how far we can go today on the program, on the afternoon edition. My name is Isa